Socials ready. We are live. It's Edge Radio Australia. It is course time for a little show we like to call The Greater Wealth. We're kicking the shoes off. We're getting casual. We're getting comfy. Well, he is, the shaved monkey over there, mate. Great to see you.
Thank you.
You do have the tea cozy on, so you are
It's
in
not
full
a tea
spec.
cozy. Come on. It's my love and admiration to my grandmother and grandfather.
Oh, look, it's important
Nana
to love
knitted
family.
it for the team that Pop used to play for. Well, he didn't. He played for Souths, but anyway.
Yeah, there
South
you go.
Fremantle.
All right, now,
2-0.
2-0. Before you get too excited, okay? Actually, well, no, do get excited because we've got Derek on the show. Simple as that.
Never
So
going
yeah, okay, you know, pump it up, pump it up.
I
Feel
still,
the excitement.
I still don't believe that I'll win a premiership. But
Oh, look, okay. I'm going to welcome.
We always live in that hope.
You got to
yeah.
live.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Be an optimist.
as
about
much
these
as I
things.
like Justin Longmuir as the coach,
Mhm.
I think he's a top 5 coach. I don't think he'd take us to number 1.
All right. Well, thanks for coming to the footy show here. Or it could be the Greater Wealth. I'm going to throw to Derek. Derek, you have again got the computer, so you're officially in charge. Yeah, whoever's got the laptop.
Told you.
That's how
Told
it
you.
works. Having said that, today is going to be an interesting day because we are going to push to the old shaved monkey because you've come up with some really good stories for today, mate.
What?
About
I do have my ear to the ground.
You
I do
do?
listen to people. I do get out in society sometimes.
your ears to the ground because someone's got their throat. Sorry, your head.
The
I'll get
foot,
it yet.
foot on my
The
neck.
foot on your neck. Can't
Wow,
even say
you
it.
butchered that.
I
like
really
that, but
did. Oh, shocking.
What was that butcher's that was throwing like meat out the vegans?
I don't care. But there you go. He was great. He was a smart fella.
Yeah.
Forget about that. Let's talk about. I believe we're going to go into fisheries, right? Okay.
Going from beef to like
Here we
fish.
are.
We're covering all
Oh,
the food groups
If
today.
you're a vegan, look away now.
We don't want anyone to feel left out.
Oh, I do. I want all the vegans to feel left out.
I'm actually going to, 2 of our presenters are vegans, right?
Oh yeah, good
DJ
point.
Kai.
Yes.
By the way, I have to give a shout out to DJ
Oh,
Kai. This is
yeah.
a great segue, Aaron. So
Mm.
well done on your accident. So DJ Kai, I forget what the festival was called. She got to present. I
Yes.
don't want to say headline because I don't think she was a headline act, but
Right.
she got to be a sporting act for the youth DJ festival. Done a
Cool.
sneeze.
Cool.
Oh,
There's nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty impressive.
bless me. Bless me in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Please do.
There you go, Derek. Anyway, so big shout out to Kai. We'll be doing a replay of her set on Edge. We're just
Brilliant.
waiting for her to bring it in.
Really
So
looking
I'm
forward
thinking
to it.
Friday night.
Fantastic. Yeah,
So yeah, anyway,
well, we
she
can't
is
do
a
on Friday
vegan.
night, but
She
we
made
can
me
do
some
Saturday.
oat cookies that were vegan.
That's a good point. Yes, she
They-
did. They were delicious. Can we please talk about the show? All right. As much as I love and as I do love vegan cookies, what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about
So,
the fisheries. What's
A
going on there.
non-vegan topic now. The
Okay.
fisheries. Well, what the government's trying to do is kind of like forcing us to be vegans. So
Yeah. Okay.
what it is in Australia, we
Mm-hmm.
have certain, for environmental purposes, certain areas that you can't fish. So
Sure.
if there's like endangered coral or
Mhm.
spawning grounds for certain fish, you can't fish there. You can't do commercial fishing. You're not allowed in there.
You can't park there,
Um,
mate. No.
Not with boats anyway. So one of them, for example, is off the Ningaloo Reef up near Exmouth.
Okay.
There's a very good reason for that to be excluded from commercial fishing.
Makes sense.
So the problem is they've just created I think there's 5 of them. It's constantly changing. This is evolving. So I have to give a big shout out to Bill Edgar, a friend of
Oh,
ours.
absolutely.
He's the one that actually made me aware of this one. So if it keeps continuing, I'm thinking maybe we can get Bill in for a show.
Good idea.
Bill's
good
actually a skipper.
Yep.
So skipper or captain, I can't. He's on the big boats, so
Yes.
not the little
Yeah.
tiny
Yeah, no-
dinghies.
no
He's
dinghies for
got
him,
like
no.
big 40, 50, 60-foot boats. So he's got the good ones.
Mm.
Anyway, so what's happening is the government's turned around and made 5 that I'm aware of exclusion zones.
Okay.
So they call them nature reserves.
Right.
No recreational fishing, no commercial fishing. Pretty much you're not allowed in these areas even. Or my understanding, you can't even do windsurfing, wakeboarding, all that sort of stuff.
Okay. My
Absolute-
question is why?
Oh, because they want to preserve the environment. The problem
Mm.
is it's 25% of the Western Australian coastline that's now being put onto nature
Whoa.
reserves. Okay, yeah, it's a lot.
Whoa.
But the problem is that 75% of our commercial fishing and recreational fishing areas. So it's all south of Bustleton, all that sort of like the Cove
Mhm.
area in there.
Sure.
And then pretty much from Augustus all the way through to Esperance has also been made exclusion zones.
But you go to Esperance to go fishing.
Yeah. Like it's huge. And so just why do we care about fishing in a finance show? So
Yeah.
back
Explain.
in 2019, I know this because the recreational fishing licenses was attacked by Mark McGowan at the time,
Mhm.
and it was actually worth $2 billion for the state economy.
Okay.
That was 2019. Now it's even more.
Of course
So
it is.
I haven't been able to find the actual figures at the moment. So
Alright.
what's happened effectively, you could argue that because they've taken away 75% of our fishing areas,
Mhm.
they've slashed our revenue on that aspects by potentially up to 75%.
Right.
And I would say it's more than just the fishing industry as well.
Yeah,
It's
it's
also
all the
the
tourism as
Of
well.
course.
tourism.
Yeah, you think about places like Cervantes and that
Mhm.
kind of area, like just all of that would be decimated.
Like,
And,
you have a
and
look-
all of those cray fishermen, there's such an industry there.
Yeah.
That's just one that I can think off the top of my head.
well, the Perth region, so San Remo, just south near Rockingham,
Yes,
used to
yeah.
have an amazing crayfishing industry.
I didn't know that.
But then they
Okay.
absolutely decimated it.
Okay.
So you're not allowed to actually crayfish out of San Remo anymore. Now,
Didn't
I
know
think
that.
the closest, like going northwards, like the real one is Greenhead,
Mhm.
which is just south of Geraldton.
Okay.
So crayfishing is worth an insane amount of money for this West Australian
Of
economy,
course.
especially after China decided, you know what, we love crayfish.
1
going from-
billion annually to our
Yeah.
state.
$1 billion.
1
So, yeah.
billion annually.
Well, this is a short sighted
on the commercial side, it's not tourism. It's
Wow.
just
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, we're talking about obviously the finance, the crossover with the politics here. The reality is that, okay, this state is not just a mining town. And, and the things that you're doing to try and destroy that industry, I mean, look, with destroying coal mining, all of that, what are you trying to do? Honestly, what are our politicians trying to do? Are they trying to tank the West Australian economy?
Absolutely. So the way I see this, the more industries they can force to tank, then the government can step in and take more. Because I raised this, I think it was last week's show, how the Labor government as a whole, in their actual constitution, it states that they're a democratic socialist party,
Sure.
which means they want everything to be socialist.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can force all the private entities to fold and collapse and
Yeah.
just be shit, and then the government can step in and say, "Oh no, we need to regulate this, for
Really,
fair
so
economy." No, it's utterly terrible. It's going to take the competition out of the market.
Yep.
With these fishing zones, if you want to fish in there, you got to go to the government to go get permits and licenses. And we saw that. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. So Mark McGowan was trying to sell out the crayfishing industry.
Yes.
And from what I'm hearing within the industry, a heap of the licenses that were going to be granted, or most of them, I'm hearing over 75% of them were actually already queued up to be sold to international entities based out of China.
That does not surprise me at all. And like this is the thing, like when we're talking about McGowan was so destructive to this state. Like, people really need to wake up and smell the coffee on this one. And what we've got now with Roger Crook, okay, is just literally McGowan light. Maybe, like maybe Bud Light. I don't know. They're probably a bit,
One's got more balls than the other.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, so
there you go.
I
But like,
found-
we're just getting, what I'm saying, we're getting a continuation of this sale of our state to China. That's the reality.
Especially-
Same as what happened in Victoria.
And what's happening, Victoria's another one, is where they've got this like open season on private corporations.
Yes.
So, and a lot of people go, oh, private corporations don't pay enough tax and all that. That's bullshit. If you actually had a look, yeah, they may not pay much income tax, but if you have a look at all the other taxes that they pay, it's an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
So
well, the
We've got-
government's cleverly set up the whole financial system
Hmm.
that businesses are used to collect sales tax on
I
their
know,
behalf,
I
right?
know.
It's called GST.
Mhm.
So when you buy something at the till, you pay GST.
Yep.
Then, of course, every quarter, that business has to report on what its BAS was, or business activity statement,
Sure.
how much tax it collected, and then pay the deficit between what it had to, its costs and to run business versus against what it collected. And they're being used. Business owners are being used.
Yeah. Well, they're doing the work of the government.
And
But
it costs the
there's
business
more.
owner. Let me just add this if I
Yeah.
can. And it costs the business owner. It's at their expense to collect it because they have to do all the bookkeeping for it and pay
Yes.
for all the bookkeeping
True.
expenses.
Very
right?
good point.
It's not. It's free. We are being used
Oh.
as business owners by the government to collect tax. So we should be invoicing the government for our bookkeeping expenses.
Well, I
So-
shall do that.
So
Yes, yeah, well, I
we've
know.
already got a few comments coming through. So
Great.
I'm assuming this is Damien.
Mhm.
So obviously it's come up as Facebook user again. Can I nude swim there?
Ooh, where?
Talking about the exclusion zones. Like by the sounds of it, it's clothing excluded.
Oh, well, Damo, that's completely up to you, mate. Really, and those around you, really.
I just want to go back to what Derek was saying about the corporations tax and all that sort of
Yes.
stuff. So yes, you're paying GST. So
Mm.
actually, the end consumer ends up paying that one. But then obviously, there's a massive push towards the digital currencies and not using cash. So all the banks are charging them fees and charges to use the FPOS machines. On top of that, if you earn more than $1.2 million as a whole gross income, you then got to pay payroll tax per employer. You got to pay the income tax and all of that. And then you got to pay the public liability insurance, which has GST component to it. You've got the workers' compensation insurance. You've got the superannuation on top of that. So a huge amount of the expenses that businesses have to actually pay is actually still tax.
Absolutely.
So just because you're not paying income, like corporations tax or income tax, because you've structured yourself properly,
Yep.
it doesn't mean you're not paying tax.
Of course.
There's all these fees and charges and taxes and government charges.
Well, I think it's structured that way to create the public perception. It's so that the government can paint the business as the bad guy and take the emphasis off themselves.
So now remember, if there's no businesses, there's no jobs.
That's spot on. No jobs.
And if there's no businesses, there's no tax or anyone to collect the
That's
tax on their
right.
behalf.
That's right.
So,
But it's okay because what we can do is we can just go and have everyone on a universal basic income. That'd be great.
yeah,
Great
but then
system.
you're
It'll
going to be told, right, we need garbage collectors.
Oh.
So, right, you may have a PhD, a doctorate in zoology,
work. Sure.
but go collect that rubbish because
Yep.
we need someone to do the rubbish
Yep.
collection. So, no, it's, I just keep my toe. I think it's the socialism never works, but I addressed this one before. So if you want to be part of the socialist system, that's great. If you don't want to be one, go get yourself structured properly
Yeah,
and
but
join
Travis,
the capitalist system.
no. The problem with socialism, okay, and communism is it's just never been done right before. And I'm sure the new version will be better than. I mean, we would have worked out all the kinks, no problem whatsoever. This is so naive; it drives me nuts because every time I hear it, I get some blue-haired idiot on Facebook or whatever having a go or screaming along. Right? Oh, it's just no.
Well-
Communism was just done wrong before. No, human nature is human nature, and the way people interact with others, and people need to have value in their lives, and they have to have purpose. If you don't have purpose, you're going absolutely nowhere,
You know,
and
the
that's
best
what
thing,
this causes.
the best thing I ever did for this show is actually take my shoes off. This is actually really comfortable.
Well, not for the show. Trust me, it's not great for the show.
I'm glad you can't smell this on camera.
Exactly. Look, apart from getting away from his feet, what are your thoughts on this, Derek?
Well, I agree with you in terms of socialism doesn't work.
Mm.
And what do? Well, it didn't work the first time, second time, third time. We're going to keep trying, doing the same thing over and over
Oh.
again. And you're absolutely right in terms of highlighting it's greed and self-interest
Of course it is.
of the heart. That is the problem. Okay,
Yeah.
something may sound great in theory, but in plays out, those with the power cannot help themselves. And I think you got to look at that. What is your price?
Mm.
What is your price where you'd sell out?
By the way,
Because-
it is Damo.
Because most people would sell out at some point.
Of course they would.
But
of course they would.
there are some things you've got to go, I can't be bought. I can't be bought.
Everyone's got a price.
Oh,
Everyone has. We proved that before with Aaron. He's like, I don't have a price.
yeah.
And I
you're
just
right.
offered his kid for a year and purchased him. Got him.
Well, yeah, that's not a financial price. That's a yeah.
Everyone has
yes,
a price. I didn't
yes.
say it was
I
financial
know
price,
you
but
got me on the
everyone's has a
the
price.
semantics. I get it, but it's true. Unfortunately, we can whatever if it's money or anything else, we can. We all have a price. We all can be bought.
Well, I think we've got to get to the point where we understand that the waters don't belong to the government. The waters belong to the people of Australia.
They
So
do.
right?
this is the bit that I'm really curious about, right?
Mhm.
So in the Australian Constitution, it says that the government cannot own anything that's God given.
All right.
I can't remember what section it is. It's one of the more obscure ones.
Okay.
So what it's implying for is, like, for example, you can't tax rain
Sure.
because it's a God-given thing. It's always going to be there. It just happens. You can't tax it. So what they're doing is effectively they're excluding people from certain areas of the ocean, which is a God-given thing.
That's right.
So are
Yeah,
they
but-
even allowed to do
Well, we
that?
live in a world where the CEO of Nestle, okay, the people who make chocolate,
Mm.
okay, believe and is actually try to put it in play where they actually own the rights to water, okay, and that
Oh, that's
this,
Coca-Cola. They're already doing it in WA.
this is the world that we live in. I know.
Have a look at Mount Franklin water.
Oh,
It's effectively tap water, but they're charging an electric.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the retail side of it. Like literally, the CEO from Nestle wanted to own the rights to water. So, taking away a fundamental human right.
Penny Wong does that over east with the Murray River
Yes,
Basin.
good point.
One of the largest water owners in Australia is Penny Wong.
It's crazy.
So
It
like,
is true.
It's Nestle, like America in that regards. They're miles behind Victoria, New South Wales. So
You want to learn about dictatorships? Get yourself down to which was it the Garden State? I don't know, whatever the state is.
what do they
Victoria.
call it? Anyway, so no, like selling God-given things is like New South Wales, Victoria has been doing that for decades.
Right.
So
Okay. You know,
Yeah.
but okay. It's like with
Credit to Topher
I
Field
will
for
say
finding a
this
lot of
too.
that
I
out.
think most people who don't fish don't realize
Mm.
how closely monitored, especially even the recreational
Oh,
fishing
big time.
industry is actually done. I remember just being out at the jetty down near Woodman's Point one time with
You
my
know, the
family.
fisheries have more authority than the police.
Well, it was crazy, right? There was somebody who had pulled in a shark, a little gummy shark,
Mhm.
and they put it in their bucket for a few minutes or whatever. Within the space of 20 minutes to 30 minutes,
Yep.
there was somebody down from the fisheries department investigating this.
Wow.
So somebody had said something, or they picked it up somehow
Oh.
on a drone or camera on the jetty or something like that.
Karen attack.
But somebody was down there, and it's not a jetty that you can get to straight from the parking lot. You've got to park, walk down
really?
a path, walk down the beach. So it's not one that's, there's traffic going by.
Yep.
So if you think that, in terms of, the green factor of environmentalism protection, there are already a lot of things in place that protect that.
So here's something else that a lot of people aren't aware of. So for a police to raid your house, they need a warrant. My understanding is the fisheries don't. So let's say abalone is a big one in Australia, especially WA. So if you take an abalone out of season, expect to lose your car, your boat, your house, lose a whole lot. Because what happens, they turn around and say that's the proceeds of crime. It's the proceeds of I forget what they call it when you take fish that are undersized.
Right.
They'll just confiscate it.
Okay.
They take the whole lot off you.
Sure.
And there's nothing you can do to get it back.
And you find it at the Christmas party, but never mind.
Yeah. So yeah, abalone, don't touch it. Marin up near the Hutt River, up near Geraldton is another one. Like it's
yum.
There's so many stories I want to tell about Marin, but I've got to be careful because it's the fisheries are so bad with it. Like if you even 10 minutes. So when I was a kid, so this is going probably 30 years ago. So I don't think I was 10 yet. So I'm 40 now. So it's more than 30 years ago.
Sure.
We were going down the Hutt River. And so you can see the Marin everywhere, like just reaching the water, grab one. And so we were sitting there and like we had the snares. So we grabbed one. It was like 10 minutes before the time. And the fish was like, "Oi, boy, put that back." And so like that's how nasty they were.
And you're a 9-year-old kid or whatever. Yeah.
So
I mean, look, I don't know, 100 years ago in this state, you didn't need a license to do about 90% of things you need a license for now.
Well,
and
100 years ago, they were giving you land as long as you went around and TNT'd all the trees to clear it for fun.
Pretty much. But I mean, okay, honestly, we've got a situation here in Western Australia. We've got a massive homeless crisis. We've got people who are struggling for money, all of that, right? And you fundamentally can't even go and catch a fish to eat. I mean, I know that's just might sound oversimplified, but that's the truth of the matter. Is we're so controlled.
Some
You
people
can't even shoot a kangaroo without a license these days. Hang on, we've got a message here. I'm assuming it's from Damo again. It's a long one. So obligations for no matter what system you choose, socialism, communism, capitalism, etc. The only difference is the obligation is to have a solid democratic process, but that itself can only be achieved with help from within the system we have. We don't need another socialist solution.
No, we don't.
So,
Absolutely.
he makes it. I'm going to assume I've read that correctly. Doesn't matter what system you're in. Every single one has obligations and things that you have to do according to the system that you're in.
Sure.
So a lot of it comes down to deciding what system you want to be in and following your obligations under that system. So, and he's also proving the point that we don't need another socialist solution because there's already enough of them.
There is exactly right.
So,
okay.
Again, I'm assuming that's Damo. It's actually, I'm loving these comments coming through. So please keep them coming through. So yeah, just going back to the fishing side of things. It's already overly regulated. Most of the fish that we do catch in the commercial zones, we send offshore, then we bring in fish from other countries. I just don't get that.
And the problem with that is the mercury levels of those other countries and waters, right, is really a problem in terms of health. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is how bad the mercury levels are.
They need to have a look at the mercury levels in Coburn Sound.
Yeah.
There was a massive mercury spill there. That's where they want to build the outer harbour. They want to drill through the mercury area so they don't flood most of the WA coastline with mercury.
That sounds horrendous.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, look, I just remember something as a child, right? As a child, we used to go down and I'd go fish at Como Jetty and I'd catch my tailor and my cobbler and all my bits and
Oh,
pieces.
cobblers.
Absolutely fantastic. And, the images I remember of all the families, in fact, our family as well, would go prawning through the Swan River. This just doesn't exist anymore.
Sorry,
None of
I've-
that happens, right?
Oh,
None of that
shits
happens.
and giggles tangent. Sorry. So this is ADHD going in. So when I was a kid, I'm talking under 10 again. So I think
Okay.
it was like 8 or something. So
Right.
I'm all of 4 foot nothing. My stepdad was like 6'1". So
Okay.
we used to take the handheld trawling nets through the Mandurah estuary, like
Yeah.
perfectly legal. Like we're not breaking any laws or anything. So I'm on the shallow end and Peter's on the deep end, and we're
Yep.
going through the river. And what happened? This fucking dolphin breached right
Oh,
next to him
no.
and did the whole. He shat himself, and I've never seen someone walk on water before. And because it was about a week after they found a heap of bull sharks in the Mandurah estuary,
Is that right?
and so I'm like, I've got this net, and because it's it's about 10 meters long,
Mhm.
so I'm struggling to hold this thing, and there's a whole school of dolphins like blowing out of the water, and anyway, so
There
side story.
you go. Well, what I'm getting at is the fact that as look, part of my childhood, we were able to go down there and fish, and we weren't harassed, we had no issues. We weren't, we'd take them to size. As a 12-year-old, I never had a license. All of this sort of thing, all this regulation just takes away. But
Takes the fun
on the
away.
financial side of things, the fact that they're restricting so much commercial fishing, okay, you are literally dumping the economy of WA, and we've got to stop this reliance on we do mining and nothing else.
The
It's ridiculous.
25% of coastland is probably near where most cities are, where
Mm.
people have their ports, where they.
vast
Sure.
majority of our
Yeah.
population is along there.
That-
So
That's the thing. You're
Oh,
going to
actually, I
affect
won't
people's
say-
livelihoods.
I won't say a vast majority, because majority is in Perth, but the moment you get out of the metropolitan
Mm.
area to the south, I'm not sure how many there are north, but going south, like I said, from pretty much Bunbury to Bustleton, that's now all an exclusion zone. Going around the corner, because if you go off the coast of Augustus, you get some massive storms out there. But from Augustus all the way through to Esperance, and I think it's going a little bit further than that, like well and truly past Hopeton and all that sort of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not much left there that you can actually do on the
That's
on the
just
south
insane.
coast.
Hmm.
And some of the beaches down there are absolutely stunning, especially like Albany and that.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh, they
Oh,
are.
they're gorgeous.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
so-
look, don't worry, because we won't have to worry about this sort of thing, because they're really pushing for a 15-minute city, so you won't have to move.
Well, if
How
you want to
handy.
travel down that far at 40k an hour,
I
you're,
love
you're set.
Yeah.
If you like to take in the sights. Travis, you've been on a roll this week putting these stories to me, and I thought they're so good. We're going to go with them.
I finally got the foundations for the granny flat down, so I've got a bit more time this week.
He's got
Right.
some time, and he's
So,
he's
um,
firing on all cylinders.
Gil Bates also was saying about crabbing in Mandurah as
Mhm.
well.
Oh,
So many
absolutely.
crabs, like you struggle to stand on them. So
Yeah, but it used to be
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
What's interesting about the story you said it to us is that it's been leaked that, and this was reported in the West Australian, the
Kitty
newspaper
Times,
of the
yeah.
WA, that what they're planning to do is limit your speed in regional areas across highways to 40k an hour in areas where you can currently travel at 110k an hour.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So-
I can't see that being unsafe.
bit of disclaimer, they are talking about the mining trucks on this one.
Okay.
So, but the WA government has a habit of going, oh, this worked for this portion of society. Let's just
Okay.
make it for everyone.
All right. Well, let's go through the details. Okay. So who do they want to slow down to 40k's an hour?
So the mining trucks.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're talking like the heavy haulers, like the semi trailers and all that sort of stuff. The problem is,
So this is not mum and dads who want to go on their vacation.
well, the thing is that you don't slow them down as well,
Oh, 'cause they
because
can't get
there's
past it.
trucks going backwards and forwards constantly. Some of those roads are that windy. There's no overtaking lanes. My guess is they want to stop not only fatalities to crashing, like head-on crashes and all that
Sure.
sort of stuff, but also animal collisions as well. And they're doing it as part of the nature preservation of nature.
Okay.
So they want to stop, killing kangaroos, which are,
Yeah.
there's that many of them. They're a pest anyway. You actually get farmers pay people to come out and cull the stocks anyway. So it's, can you imagine trying to do a trip? Let's say Geraldton.
Mhm.
So the biggest city north of Perth is by car. Now I've been in a car once that's actually done in 2.5 hours, but generally it's a 4.5 hour trip.
Okay.
Okay, the scariest trip of my life. They were Germans. They didn't understand that Australia had speed limits, unlike the Autobahn. So we made it we left at 6 o'clock in the morning. We made it to Perth and back before the football at 1 o'clock. Scariest trip of my life.
I'm impressed.
So Anyway, so it's normally a 4.5 hour drive.
Okay.
Now, if you do that at 40 k's an hour, that's over a 10-hour drive if you don't stop.
Now, I'm going to make this argument. If they're talking about the safety for the kangaroos, I love kangaroos, right? Okay. I don't
No,
wanna
they're a
save them.
pest. There's too many of them.
That's just that is just an embarrassing excuse, right? They are a pest, so it negates the entire argument. But the other thing, from as far as the road safety, from human beings' point of view, how many people, right, get stuck behind a truck or this or that, whatever, traveling really slowly, and they make really poor judgment calls about overtaking them, right, because they're traveling so slowly.
So,
Okay, I'm saying without doubt, if you make the vehicles travel slowly, you will actually up the fatalities. You really will, because people will be impatient and they do foolish things.
If you really want to stop fatalities on country roads, I personally feel that every national route, so National Route 1 all the way around Australia, and the major route, so Brand Highway, the one Albany Highway, or going all the way through down to obviously Albany, those ones should be a default double lane both ways. It should be a dual carriage both ways. Truck six on one side, cars on the other side.
Where would you find the money for that? Oh, hang on.
Hang on.
Yes,
the cost. The estimated cost to the mining industry alone will be in the billions.
Okay.
If they do this. So from what I've been told, it's already been scrapped. There's been that much of a kick up and blowback from the mining companies that they've already said no. But the thing you've got to remember is the government's got a history of going, oh, you don't want it? No worries. We won't do it. And then 6 months later, they're doing it anyway.
Well, also they'll ask for federal funding because it's considered to be a capital works on a federal sort of stage, I would think.
State roads, they'll like Brand Highway isn't, my understanding, Brand Highway is a part of the state route, but Albany Highway down to like Albany and Esperance and all that is not. So, for example, the Kwinana Freeway in WA is not actually a part of the national route system. It's purely 100% state. So, if it's a blue number, it's state. If it's a white number, it's national.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, the states can also go, you know what, we're doing this major road infrastructure upgrade. Give us some money as well. And generally, the federal government will chip in as well.
Okay.
But there's so many problems with the transportation side of things. Like if you really, really, really wanted to stop trucks and cars involving with each other, you'd have a trucking route and then you'd have everyone else route. And personally, I think caravans should be on the trucking route as well because they're just a nuisance on the road.
Yep.
Sorry, grey nomads.
The grey nomad.
You are an absolute pain on the road, especially when someone goes to overtaking and you move across so you don't get overtaken. You don't want stones to chip your brand new caravan. No, you just die. Sorry.
My parents had this camper van, one of those Winnebago type ones, and that literally had a sticker on the side of it called the Le Escargot because it was like basically it was 80 k's now. Wherever you want to go, it's 80 k's now. And Dad used to do the right thing and pull over really quite often so that he could allow people to come past. But the frustration it causes by going too slow, it's unsafe. All right,
Damo
you've got some questions.
Needs
He's on fire today.
He needs a wet willy. I was going to say bitch slap, but
okay.
You've been serious, Trav. 2 hours, creepers. So I think he's been listening to us too much. No, so keep listening. We love your input, Damo. I won't be me. You're awesome. Another person's chipped in. I love my Mondays. Thanks to you guys. As a veteran of PTSD, you guys keep me informed as I don't watch the news.
Really appreciate that, mate. Absolutely.
So make sure you like, share. And if you've got any questions, chuck them in there. We love interacting with people.
We do.
But
lots of good stuff going on.
The car side of things, since probably November, every second weekend, I've been doing a trip up to Geraldton.
Yep.
Obviously with the renovations for Geraldton up there, which are finally over.
Yes.
But it's the amount of idiots on the road due to frustration. And I personally think frustration is the number one killer on the country roads. It's not fatigue.
No.
Because also when you're trying to overtake someone and the roads are windy, there's bugger all overtaking lanes. It's dangerous to overtake, especially at night because you've got the headlights coming both ways. It's really hard to judge how far away someone is.
Yep.
And let's say you've got a 2.8 litre naturally aspirated diesel from 1995. You know, the uptake on that thing is not the greatest. You really struggled to get to 110.
Mate, with that car of yours, you've got to actually plan your overtaking maneuvers with a calendar. Okay, that's how slow it is, right?
No, he's not joking there.
Hey, I want to talk about something else that's about frustration.
Just one other thing on that.
Oh, yeah.
How will it also affect the agricultural industry as
Oh,
well?
good point.
Because you look at, if you get stuck, behind these kind of mining trucks and you've got to get other industries,
Damn straight.
there's other industries that have a flow-on effect in terms of the highways. It's just not the mining crew that are using the roads.
Totally
It's
agree.
other, and the whole trucking industry, the imports, exports, getting stuck behind these. No.
Oh, look, Australia absolutely relies on trucking more than you could possibly imagine. So, you know what? Go out there, hug a truckie because they are keeping this country moving.
So for all the greenies out there, we got to protect the animals. So up north of Australia, we have a lot of cattle stations.
Sure.
And they can especially when they're going for sale, like when you're exchanging breeding stock.
Mhm.
So they put them into a truck, they ship them to Perth, and then from Perth they go to whoever buys them.
Okay.
So can you imagine, instead of having a truck going 90 k's an hour
Mhm.
and having the animals in the blistering sun in a truck crammed in their
Good
sardines
point.
for say 10 hours, would you rather that be 25 hours?
Wow. It's a really good point, actually.
So it's when you have a look at all the different aspects of it. This is again another, and I know we're always bashing on Labor for things. It seems like they've got the person fresh out of university with a clipboard saying, "I don't know what you're doing, but my clipboard says you're doing it wrong."
Oh, look, I'm happy to stop
So-
that. I don't have to actually bash Labor all the time.
I
I'm happy
happily
to.
do it.
I'm happy to bash the Greens.
And the
we can do that
Liberals.
too.
Like,
Discriminate.
No, not
because
at all.
The problem is because Edge is 3 years old now.
Yeah.
So we've been stuck in a Labor shit show for the last 3 years. So
Almost. Full.
March 2025. So looking forward to it.
Look at that. All right, let's talk about money, right?
Right. Well, there's been a bit of a pushback. We've been talking for a number of months about the whole concerns about banks closing down ATMs,
Mhm.
banks closing down branches. There's a reduction as far as accessibility to cash is concerned, concerned about CBDCs, which is centralized. I always have to think it out the acronym. Centralized business, CB digital coins.
Central bank.
Central bank.
digital
Thank you.
currency. And you're the finance guy. I'm the politics guy. You're the finance guy.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
and you're young enough, mate, that you should be like, these young and they speak everything in abbreviations. They've got no time for conversation.
Who's
Everything's got to be
older have used
abbreviated.
to?
What's that?
That's just the thought. Who's the bigger fossil I've used to? I would have said you because
Oh,
you got more grey.
Thanks, mate. I haven't got any grey. It's all gone.
Yeah, no grey.
No greys whatsoever.
I must
You
admit,
know-
I saw a few more grey hairs coming up in my beard.
Yeah,
and
I
I
believe
was like,
I'm-
I got to pull them out.
No, I think out of this group, I am King Fossil. I'm happy with that. All right, but let's talk about cash. I'm a fossil. I love cash.
Basically, Channel 7's come out and said that a lot of Australians are pushing back on the whole cashless society concerns, worried about exploitation, exclusion of certain communities, gripped by what they call cash nostalgia, according to new research. ATMs disappearing, bank branches, all that's going on. And yet what they're saying is that 2 in 5 people, which is 41%, are concerned, extremely concerned about the disappearance of cash, according to new data from a company called Wave.
I've never heard of Wave.
No,
I used to have
that's a
driving
double A
along.
in there. WAAV.
Wave.
Look,
What they're saying is that there's a lack of trust in banking
I was
institutions
trying
and
to imagine
financial
why.
services, a fear of exasperating economic inequality, and fear of using rising fees, a major part of 1,080 Aussies that were surveyed by the company last month.
And look, once you haven't
big
got cash
pool.
to use, you don't have the option to use cash and you have to use electronic means. Look, there is no way in the world that your financial institution, your bank, will not up their fees. Okay. They have got a captive audience. They will up the fees. It's just nature of the beast.
People
what
listening
they're
don't
finding-
hate
what-
me for this.
What they're finding
Oh.
is that people are starting to push back and use cash.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm
Right.
seeing signs everywhere that are saying we prefer cash, and I think that's a great thing. And actually, the moment I see a pro cash sign, I gravitate to that business. So if you want to do your business a favor, there's a growing number of people who see that. I go, right, you're awake, okay? You're
No.
one
They
of
just
us.
want to they want to survive because you
Yeah.
got to remember every single time you use an FPOS machine,
sure.
the company has to factor into their profit margins for the FPOS
Of course.
surcharges.
Yeah,
So they
true.
work it down into per transaction.
Yep.
So every time you pay cash, that business isn't paying the bank fees for that. So you're actually increasing the business's profit margins.
Yes.
Therefore, they can keep their prices lower. So if you really want to have a look at it that way,
Mhm.
paying cash will help to alleviate the pressures of the cost of living.
I think also any smart business owner will
Mm.
accept anything for
Damn
payment.
straight.
You don't make it difficult for your customer
Oh,
to pay you.
mm.
And I really detest as a customer when a business makes me jump through so many hoops just to give them some money, just to
Yep.
pay a bill,
Yeah.
just to pay
Why
something.
is
It's
it
like,
so hard?
are you kidding me? I am trying to give you money and you are making me, you're wasting my time trying to do this.
Oh, look, it's like the bank who wants ID for me putting money into my own account. Okay. You want my ID? If people are coming to my bank and they want to put money in my account, please encourage that.
Mm.
Okay. Don't be stopping that. This is so, it's just this,
you know what's really
it's this-
funny?
it's this need to control things.
You know what's really funny? So let's say you go to, let's say, petrol station. It's after hours, so you go say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do about $100 worth of fuel."
Yep.
So you just tap your card, happy days. Take $100 out.
Yep.
No ID, PIN numbers, nothing.
True.
They just take $100 out. But let's say you only put $80 in, so they go give you $20 back.
Yep.
You go punch your PIN number in and a signature for them to put the money back into your account.
I know.
So they're happy to take the money,
Oh, very.
but like the banks are refusing to put the money back in unless you PIN and sign.
Another thing about this survey that came out that's interesting is that people are concerned about who's protecting their interests with, the
Yeah,
amount
cool.
of information, the details, getting their personal details stolen,
Oh,
fumbling around with passwords and paying ridiculous card fees and surcharges just to do the business, not even just as the merchant, but as the customer. They're getting sick of it.
well, okay. Right now, the government, the Australian government is putting out all these ads costing us a lot of money, basically teaching people to put better passwords on, right? Okay. On their,
Well, I don't watch TV, so I've never seen these
Okay.
ads.
oh, no, they're coming up on YouTube as well. They're
No,
coming
I
up on
see.
the-
I actually run Moxilla with an ad blocker on it, so
Oh,
I don't
okay.
get the ads anyway.
Lucky you.
YouTube Premium for nothing.
Oh, can you sort me out on that, please? Anyway,
I've already done it on these computers.
oh, there you go. Can you do it on mine? My other one. But I honestly, this is so intrusive, and what you've got the government is they're trying to throw the responsibility back on you for the fact that that we've had so many breaches. I know far too many people who have had their lives damaged because of all of these breaches. I mean, there's so many, but the Medibank private one particularly was nasty. Obviously, there was a MyGov one where it's horrendous. This is a great way of getting access to your accounts. And I mean, I now pretty much once a year have to have an issue with the bank. I had to get rid of ANZ for this reason, because of the fact that so many reasons with ANZ, but that was one of them, is that fake transactions that were going through, right? And they were being caught and having to chase your money back.
You know how we got around all of that? We had to put the two-factor authentication. So every time there's a transaction on our bank accounts, and yes, we're with ANZ, we get a text message.
Okay.
And we have to confirm it yes or no.
Right.
So that's how we got around that one. But yeah, two-factor authentication is actually really good for blocking that one.
Okay.
And do it to your personal mobile phone. Don't do it to your email address, because if they gain access to your email address and they get it there, so make sure it's your phone. So we demo the latest password crackers are actually scary. Some of them are insane, especially now that quantum computers are becoming more and more active. The amount of password attempts they can chuck through in a matter of split seconds is insane. So I think please do not take this as personal advice, but I think cybersecurity companies are going to do very, very well over the next 10 years or so.
No doubt about that.
You love it, don't you,
Derek,
Aaron?
Yes, right.
please give me some pleasant news.
Well,
Pleasant
we do
news.
have a question though.
Oh,
but
I
it's,
love
it's about
questions.
the segment that we're doing.
far
just before.
away.
Well, I was going to say that was a pleasant story.
Yeah, well,
Because people are using more cash.
that is no true.
That was the overall point of the story.
We did talk earlier about the surfing dog story, right?
We turned a
that's
positive into a negative.
Yeah,
somehow.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So it's
That's
good
very
that
true.
people are actually taking control of their own financial destiny in this one.
Yeah, yeah.
So by buying cash. But the only thing I'd
Buying
say,
cash.
Yeah.
well, that's effectively what they're doing. They're using their digital currency, which is in the bank account, taking it out as cash. But my only concern with that one is obviously cash loses its value over time. So instead of sitting on like huge quantities of like literal physical cash, is it worth changing into gold
Well,
or
look,
silver
okay.
or
I
something
brought-
else that can be
I brought this up
liquidated later?
before in a previous show, but it was an article I read recently about the fact that of all the places in Australia, they actually believe that the greatest amount of cash is buried in the suburb of Balcatta.
Yeah.
Balcatta here in Western Australia, apparently because of
You do know why? Who
Yeah, absolutely.
developed Balkan?
yeah, absolutely
What
Italians.
Italians?
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
Italians.
Italians. So for that reason, they literally do believe that, and it was some massive figure. I can't honestly remember off the top of my head, but it was a massive figure of the amount of cash that's buried. So if you guys want to know where I am anytime if I walk off with the shovel, I'm heading down there. I'm going to get myself a nice
You know,
Conti roll.
I just thought of something.
Dig a
Like,
hole.
we
I dug
probably
a
should have
hole.
said it was Balcata. Now the crime rate in Balcatas probably don't go through the
No,
roof.
don't be silly.
Anyway, so going back to Damo again, Damo, the superstar of the show today.
It is big time.
Derek, do you think it would be a good idea to tie rego fees to the cost of creating and maintaining roads, or is there a big enough benefit to allocate after tax funds towards roads? Ooh, that's a loaded one.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know this. 38 cents in the dollar for your fuel actually is meant to go to the road maintenance.
That's right.
I certainly don't want to see West Australia go down the path of having to pay tolls to use a road.
Oh, I can't stand
They
tolls.
do that in other states, New South Wales, Queensland, et cetera, et cetera. But somebody's got to pay for the maintenance of the road.
Yep.
And
Yeah, we already are. It's in our fuel
I think
prices.
we're taxed enough
Yeah, we are.
that we should get a free ride on the not a free ride,
know
but
what?
we should get a ride where we're not taxed yet again on that double taxed on using the road. I'm not sure that I've answered his question though. Can you just repeat the question?
Oh yeah. So would it be a good idea to tie rego fees to the cost of creating and maintaining roads? So your registration fees for your car.
Their intention, as I understand it, is the rego fee is for third-party insurance.
Oh, not quite. It's, public liability insurance.
Yeah.
So,
You
and
have an
remember,
accident.
this isn't for people's cars. So
No.
this is for people.
Yeah.
So sorry, I used to work in this industry. So let's say I crash into Derek and
Mhm.
I don't have third-party insurance on the car.
Sure,
So my driver's license insurance, there's a third-party component to it.
it does.
So let's say Derek gets hurt, it pays for his medical bills. Now,
Yes.
let's say I'm unlicensed.
Mhm.
So the reason it's so high, if I'm unlicensed, I have a crash and Derek gets hurt. So what happens is all the insurance companies that do that, they have a pool where they take, I think it's about 3% per license.
Okay,
It might have gone up. They put it into a pool, and that pool will actually pay for Derek's medical bills
right.
if I'm not licensed and I'm not insured. So there's the reason it's so expensive. Insurances are going up through the roof.
Oh,
So
okay.
again, with cars, your car registration, it's not for Derek's car that I've crashed into. It's for Derek's physical, like broken legs, concussions, death, things like that.
I think that's a good system, to be
Yeah.
perfectly
does, yeah,
honest,
it works.
Damien. I think it should stay the way it is, provided that it is in line with increased costs and all that sort of stuff. It's not exorbitant. I think it's a fairly good
I
system.
think, well, you have a look at like trailers. Like I've got 3 trailers and they're about $80 a year to
Okay.
register to have it covered, which is fine. Now your car insurance generally will cover anything that you're towing as well. So you don't need to get like your secondary insurances for comprehensive insurance. Going on,
It's really interesting you do that, because what happens when you hire a trailer from someone else?
well, it's on your car insurance.
Gotcha.
So it covers whatever you're towing. The second part to it, or is there a big enough benefit to allocate other tax funds towards the roads? So there's already a huge amount of money that's already
Look,
been
yeah,
allocated. to it.
government
I-
taxing.
Sorry,
It's,
go on.
government taxing it's money laundering. Okay, like I see so many private enterprises who are associated with donors and all of that for political parties that just all they're doing is recycling money, and I see so much money being unbelievably wasted. I've had conversations recently with somebody who works in a career that deals with the planning a lot.
Mm.
Okay, and just the system is a bloody rort. And if they did it with any sort of common sense, or they did it with a private business mentality, we wouldn't be wasting all this money.
This
We
is-
wouldn't have all these issues.
You've just Shaq was on the show once and he's talking about I think it was Dubai or Abu Dhabi, where they've
Sure.
got a royalty.
Yep.
So if the royal family walks down and says, right, fix that road.
Yep.
Like it's done the next day, it's immediate. There's
Of
none
course.
of these environmental surveys and all that sort of shit. So to fix a road might be $10,000. To fix a road like the same section of road in Australia, you're looking at $150,000.
Yeah.
So it's just there's perks to every system because they're a monarchy. Whatever the king or queen says gets done immediately. There's none of this other bullshit that goes on. Where with us, because we're in a democrat, well, we're not even a democracy.
Mm.
Like I don't know what we are, but because there's all the bullshit that goes on before it gets done,
Yep.
everything costs an absolute arm and a leg.
Everyone's got to get a
I
piece
think
of it.
we, though, in terms of the quality of roads that we drive on compared to other parts of the world, I think we're pretty good.
No.
No?
No. I'll take you for a drive in the Hilux. So I've got I think it's a 2.5 or a 3-inch lift kit on the Hilux because I loaded up with quite a lot of stuff. Like coming down Tonkin Highway, it's like the whole way through. So doing the
Yeah,
trip
but they've
south.
been doing roadworks on that.
No, they're not. That's brand new road.
You're still
No, this is down near Armadale side. They've literally repaved the road. It goes smooth for a little bit, and then you start bouncing up and down. You go north of where all the roadworks is Guildford Road. Go north of that, same sort of thing. You're up and down, all the way down Brand Highway. You talk to any truck driver that does that run on a daily basis, and they've all got back problems because the road is so bad.
I've been on the concrete freeways of Los Angeles.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Click, 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 click the whole way.
I would happily take the click, 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 as long as it's not.
What you need to do is crank up the stereo, of course, Edge Radio Australia, and you don't hear the click, click,
Yeah,
click.
but the problem is we haven't got the frequency yet, and I'm not
Ah,
paying $23 million for a frequency.
small change next year.
Maybe for you, Aaron. You know, with the GoFundMe and all.
That's right. Right. Exactly right. Oh, dear.
Sorry, I had to slip that one in there.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Oh, we got another question here. Well, we
What?
got fact checkers. Do you think your information? Fact checkers has put a comment into our chat. Here we go. Let's go this one. Do you think the information from mainstream media that you accuse of not fact checking? FC.
Okay, hang on. Say that
Do
again.
you get your information from mainstream media that you accuse of not fact checking?
No. Well, I certainly for myself, I get my information from many different sources, and I have I do actually watch some mainstream media, and I fact check that. What I do is how I put it is I go shopping for the news, right?
Well, let's
So
use
I'll
the
go
fishery
look,
stories,
I'll
for
look-
example.
Yeah, but I'll look at left leaning media. I'll look at right leaning media. I'll look at independent media. I'll look at all these different
I
sources.
skipped the media.
No, I
So
think
with the
it's important.
fisheries things, I saw the news article. It got raised source.
Sure.
I had a quick read of what it said in the news article,
Mhm.
and then I went to the Western Australian Government website to find out what it actually is.
There you go.
So just go to the source.
Yeah, right.
Simple as that.
I mean, I often, especially on social media, people attack you for particular things you put forward that I've read directly off ABS figures, right? Okay, this is supposed to be the standard we're supposed to be using, and people will happily believe something they saw on, 7 propaganda news, but they won't actually believe ABS figures. Don't get me wrong. ABS figures can be manipulated like anything, like any stat can. But, look, to answer that question, we fact check as accurately as we can. And other things that we put forward, we make no mistake about it. And there's no secret about the fact that I'm certainly with myself, I'm using opinion. A lot of stuff, this is my opinion, my feelings on things, and from my experience in life.
And if we're talking about issue or news article, we actually give credit to which of the news
We
articles.
do, absolutely
Yep.
spot on.
That's what we're reporting in.
That's
7
right.
News has reported XYZ.
The bit I find fascinating, so I'm just going to pull it back up again. Fact
Mhm.
checkers, the actual account name is fact checkers.
There you go.
So I'm wondering, is this a bot or?
I could very well be a bot. And then,
I don't know. Should we fact check the fact checker?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's
Um,
you're not allowed to do that now.
Actually, I'm going to use this point though. There's one thing I'm finding is really, and this brings a big smile to my face, is the fact that we are now we do get attacked by bots on quite a regular basis. And we're getting a lot of that sort of resistance and that kind of
keep it
social media interference. That tells me we are doing an excellent job. Okay?
Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we
But-
are right over the target. If you're being attacked in this particular way,
Personally, I want them to be sending the questions.
I
in
agree.
because
Totally agree.
should we announce the new show that we've got planning
Let's do it.
nightly?
Yeah.
So what we're in the process of planning a show called Fact or Crap,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be weird because I'm hosting it.
So sorry
so
about
that's
that.
that says everything there. So it'll be a nightly show from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. So it is a late night show. We're doing it that way because we will be taking other people's facts, and we'll be getting people to come in actually onto the stream with us and telling their opinion, their things. And we're actually going to check the issues, and I'm going to have to look at arguments from both sides.
Yes,
so I've
you
got to
will.
put my greeny weirdo hat on and then
Mhm.
my conservative hat on and say, right, here's the facts. This is what's actually going on. Do I think it's full of shit, or
Yep.
do I think it's a legit issue that needs to be explored further?
Now, to that listener and to that point, I want to say this is that's what's different about us here at Edge is we actually want to have public discourse. We want to involve other people. We want to have this conversation, right? We're not trying to say this is how it is, right? Okay. Because often, as I say, I'll use my opinion, okay, and others will do that, and we'll bring forward facts and information. But ultimately, this is about discourse. This is about conversation. And this is the fundamental difference on Edge and so many others will be that we will welcome that discourse. We'll also welcome people who have opposing ideas. There's a particular radio station in Perth that is having they're having their ratings absolutely drop through the toilet right now because of the amount that they are censoring their people who call in. It's a talkback radio station. They're getting a lot of people who they've got a very long history. They get a lot of people contact, and they are censoring the hell out of it. And guess how they're being rewarded? Well, they're being rewarded by their they've just tanked. Their ratings are shocking. It's embarrassing for something of a legacy media with such a history. So, quite frankly, what we're seeing is the emergence of a new media. We're seeing this alternative media, and in our case, we are extremely pleased to hear your opinions, even if we don't agree with them.
And I think sometimes, more importantly, it's not so much the facts; it's also the question that's the most important thing, right? It's the question that leads to the answer.
Yeah.
So I think with what we're doing with the Greater Wealth is I want to throw the question out: what you're hearing, is it actually true? Is it actually fact? Why are you doing that? Why are you believing with this? Why are you doing this in your finances? Why are you doing that? How much is your life being controlled, or how much of it are you taking control of it, or how much of it is by divine design, etc.? You know, all of these questions are very important considerations because these decisions determine what you can and can't do in your life. And I think the question is sometimes more important than the actual answer.
Yeah. The other one that I really, really would love to see is I want to get someone who is on the left side of politics, who's full on hardcore Green supporter. You know what? The more colors in your hair, the better. I really want to, because obviously I used to call myself on the right side of politics, but I think I'm more of a libertarian. There's a movement in America called No Labels. And my personal belief is the moment you label something, you've created them versus us. And I think that's stupid. So I'd love to see someone who's full parrot, like short, multicolored hair, dresses as the other gender, like the full go as far left as you can to come on and just have a chat. Now, I don't want you to come on here and be an absolute bitch and try and talk over everyone, but I want to hear why you think these things are good, what you think is good about it, and what you think is bad about the other side of the story. But every time we
even
invite
change
people,
our minds or other people's minds. Yeah, this is the thing. Like you've got to be open to other people's opinions. You really do.
I just find if you're not prepared to listen, you're just ignorant.
Yep.
So
Totally
anyway,
agree.
so just going back, Damo again, commenter of the day. Bot traffic always skyrockets every year when there's a US election on.
So true, mate. You are bang on the money there. And I've never seen an election cycle as long as this one. This has just been, it's been pantomime.
Yeah, well, you've only just really in the last 5 years gotten really involved in politics. Like you've dipped your toe in before.
I did dip my toe, and then you ruined my life. So I understand that.
Not just that, but the interest factor has gone through the roof. You know, as it was prior. The dramas around politics, and US politics in particular.
A lot of people don't realize
spectacular.
Effectively, you're always in an election cycle because the federal elections every 3 years, the state elections every 4 years. Well, 3 and a bit years is when they call. The state election are actually fixed, and so are the local council elections every 2 years. So they vote in a different half each 2 years. So we're back into a local council election again.
And we are. And I'll have some really exciting stuff for that one, but we'll talk about
So
that.
I'm going to put my hands up for the city of Gosnells just because it's funny.
You
my whole campaign is I'm not them. No, that's literally that's literally it. So the city of City of Armidale or City of Gosnells, I can't remember which one I am.
Okay,
so
there you go.
I'm practically Kelmscott, so wherever.
Sure.
And I'm literally going to run a campaign of I'm not them.
Well, I look forward to this campaign. What I also look forward to is, mate, if you can close the show out.
Hang on, we got comments.
Thoughts. Oh, hang on, very quickly.
Damo, I know a PhD biologist who would probably be happy to come on. Damo, I'm going to give you some homework. Go reach out to this person. Give them Aaron's phone number. Because his phone number's on the Facebook page. Get them, contact them. We'll make a show around there.
Thoroughly agree.
Thanks.
Or of course, go to the website. We have a contact page there. Click away. It's info@edgeradioaustralia.com. All right, mate. Let's close the show.
Hang on, one more.
Hang on.
This is the most important election of our lifetime.
I agree.
Coming from Damo.
Totally agree. Absolutely agree.
And apparently, Facebook user says that wasn't me.
Right. Well, we'll find out who it was, I guess.
I'll get her to hit you up.
Love it.
From Damo.
Final word.
Oh, hang on. No, I'm
Travis, do you want the final word? Is that what you're doing?
No, you can do it. You can do it, Derek.
Get the word out. Get the
Sorry.
word out as to what is going on, what is being slipped under the table, under the door there, in terms of the memo that nobody's received in relation to fishing, in terms of speed rights, in terms of what's going on in our rural areas. Get the word out, make awareness, and then make your public servants work for you, because that's what they're there to do, is to serve you. So say, hey, I want accountability on what's going on here. I want accountability on what's happening to the fisheries. I want to have accountability on what's happening to our road planning, in mining, and all that sort of thing. What matters to you? Because if you don't, and if you don't speak out, well, guess what? Those freedoms disappear. And do you want that for your kids? Do you want that for your grandkids?
No.
This is your country. This is your government. Make it work for you.
The most important question is why.
And the final say, I think, should go to Valiant Thor, all the way from YouTube land. Woohoo!
Thank you, Valiant.
And this is why I'm saying I love people's alternative views on things, because it helps you educate yourself
Totally
and
agree.
understand what's going on. So the world is going to shit. Only thing left is for the ETs to reveal themselves. Then every single piece of toilet paper on the planet will be gone.
And with that bombshell, that'll be the end of the show. Thank you very much for being part of the Greater Wealth. Thank you very much, Travis, for, I don't know, whatever you do here.
I click
And thank you,
buttons.
Derek, for bringing, strength and determination and fact to the show, and your computer. All right, that's fantastic. Let's call it quits. It, of course, has been the Greater Wealth here on Edge Radio Australia. Hit the music, my friend.